A very good afternoon, students. This is teacher Alfonso for your English subject. Today we will do a poem, a very interesting poem by William Wordsworth. It is Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth.
Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here or gently pass.
The poet says, Behold her means look at her, single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, a young lonely girl in the highland. It's a valley. Okay, lass is called as a girl, and highland is a valley. It's a place where she's all alone, reaping and singing by herself. He says, Stop here or gently pass. As she is singing so beautifully, let's not disturb her. If you want to listen to the song, wait and listen or quietly move.
Alone she cuts and binds the grain, and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound.
She's all alone and she's binding the grains. She does not have any friends with her. She sings a melancholy strain. Melancholy strain is a song, a sad song. It's not a joyful or funful song, it's a sad song she's singing. He says, Oh, listen to the vale profound. Vale is called as a valley. The valley is filled with her song. Is overflowing with the song. He's telling the full valley is overflowing with her sound. Such beautiful and you can say melody is there in her voice.
No nightingale did ever chaunt more welcome notes to weary bands of travellers in some shady haunt among Arabian sands.
He says, No nightingale did ever chant. He's saying, not even a nightingale did ever sing so beautifully. Her notes are so very bands. Means it is so very like touching to the heart. It's so very emotionally attached. Especially for the travelers on some shady haunt among the Arabian sand. That time the travelers they had to walk or they had to travel on the donkeys or camels in the scorching heat of sun. And then what happened is they just sit down under a tree wherever they get shade. And this sound of hers, the song of hers, was giving them such a peace, such a relaxation in that sun, in that heat. It was so beautifully going in their hearts.
A voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides.
The poet is saying, a voice is so thrilling as never heard. He never heard such a beautiful voice. Even the cuckoo bird could not embrace her voice. What a voice he's saying. He was so enchanted by her voice. He was so impressed by her voice that he really wanted to know that like who is singing and what is she singing. He was so curious to see her. And when he saw her, he did not want to disturb because if she finds him singing at her, he was sure that she would stop singing. It was in the whole silence. Her voice was moving around. Everybody could hear only her voice in this whole of the silence.
Will no one tell me what she sings? perhaps the plaintive numbers flow. For old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago.
He wanted to know what she's singing. Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow. Plaintive numbers are those songs which are, you can say, is sad songs, emotional, sentimental songs. So she was just not singing one song, she was singing a number of songs, one after the other. It was for everybody, for old, who were unhappy, who had the people gone far off, and some people whose loved ones were on the battlefield. Because that time, when they used to go on the battlefield, they never knew whether the people will really turn up or no. But then she was singing for all those who were old, unhappy, who people had gone far away, and who were on the battle.
Or is it some more humbly familiar matter of today? Some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and maybe again?
He has one more question to say. Or is she singing for the famine of today, for the wars of today, or the natural sorrows, like we can say is storm, or some tsunami, some drought, or some disease which has overtaken people? He had many questions. The songs were related to him. But then he kept all the questions to himself because he did not want to disturb her. He just wanted her to sing along and move along. This is what William Wordsworth was really striving to know.
Whatever the theme, the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending.
The poet is saying he did not know what the maiden sang. Maiden is again called as a young girl. He did not know what she is singing. He said there is no end for her song. He saw her at her work. He saw her working. He was so impressed with her at her work. As she was over the sickle bending, her sickle was down and she was bending, busy working. He could not see her upright. But then he only knew that there's some voice singing in the fields.
I listened, motionless and still. And as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore. Long after it was heard no more.
He listened it motionless. He was just waiting there and listening, and he was still. He was moved by the music, the song, what she sang. He just wanted to know what she's singing and what touched him so high. As he was climbing the mountain, as he was climbing the hill, the music he heard and he stopped there motionless. But then he had to move on. So he kept on moving up. The music in his heart, he bore. He carried the music in his ears and in his heart, which could never stop, which he always remembered. Long after it was heard no more. He could not even hear it after then. He had reached very far from that girl. But yet that song was lingering in his heart. It was so very much near to him, dear to his heart. The music in my heart I bore long after it was heard no more. The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. Students, I hope you have understood the poem. If you have any doubt or any clarification, please feel free to call me or message me on my personal number. Thank you and have a wonderful day.